Good evening and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you in association with the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority, GOIL Company Limited, Serene Insurance, and Ghana Link Network Services, the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, ICOMS, at the ports. The program is also streamed live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are operating at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. We're also operating at Tema Port of Tema. And then on YouTube, we are streaming live at Iron Port Ghana. Our media partner is the Business and Financial Times. And so if you want to have a grasp of all that transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to see all that happened here tonight on the show. We're going to be getting interactive with you, and so you can send us your messages via WhatsApp line, which is 0559-019-177. 0559-019-177. We'll be glad to share your message with the rest of the world. Indeed, at the appropriate time, when I pick signals from my production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We are back after this break. Please stay.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Electricity, pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risk Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance.
Oh, Ajima,
tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance
for the projects and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
So you're welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and maritime industry in the course of the week. And in the course of the week, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority had cause to issue a statement, reminding and warning the public not to fall prey to the activities of some recalcitrant, miscreants who are using the name of the authority in a recruitment scam, and they are indicating that the authority has started recruitment for 2022-2023 and asking people to, oblige them, and the authority in the course of the week had to, issue a disclaimer and allege and inform the generality of the Ghanaian people that this is not true, and so nobody should fall prey to the activities of these miscreants. And indeed, the Ghana Shippers Authority also in the course of the week commissioned the Elubo Track Park, and also GOIL Company Limited also recently launched or commissioned the Kwabenya service station. It's an ultra-modern facility that they have there to service the motoring public. Let's take a look at these stories.
Transit track congestion at the Lubu border and the Apasad parking of cargo trucks in the Jomoro Municipal Assembly has become a thing of the past with the construction of the Lubu Freight Park. The project, which was initiated and funded by the Ghana Shippers Authority with support from the Jomoro Municipal Assembly, was commissioned on Friday, 28th January 2022. The ultra-modern facility aims to make the nation's western transit corridor attractive to businesses and individuals who haul goods between Ghana and La Côte d'Ivoire and beyond in a bid to boost transit trade volumes. Ghana's transit trade is estimated to generate 134 million Ghana cedis annually, and the Ghana Shippers Authority is working hard to make and even surpass the target in its effort to contribute to the economic growth of the country. Speaking at the commissioning of the Lubu Freight Park, the board chairman of the Ghana Shippers Authority, Stella Wilson, said the project is evidence of the premium the authority places on the transit trade.
The Lubu Freight Park is expected to significantly improve transit time at the border and provide relief to hauliers and transit shippers alike, who are very important players in the trade value chain. The authority over the last 5 years has embarked on a number of projects and sensitization activities with stakeholders along the major corridors of the country to promote transit trade and facilitate transport.
She charged the Assembly to oversee the maintenance of the facility to ensure longevity. The Municipal Chief Executive of the Jomoro Municipal Assembly, Louisa Iris Ade, in a remark said the park would not only help with beautification of the Assembly, but also enhance road safety and, most importantly, enhance economic activities.
The construction of the terminal was to help promote local economic development in the border enclave and also reduce inconvenience that transport drivers and operators go through while in transit on our border area.
The Lubu Freight Park sits on a 2-acre land with a track capacity of 40. It is designed such that trucks have ample space for entering, turning, parking and exiting. The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has cautioned the general public against the activities of some criminals engaged in a recruitment scam using the name of the authority. Esther Jebidonko, General Manager, Marketing and Corporate Affairs of GPHA, in an interview, said criminals have caused announcements to be made on various social media platforms alleging that the authority had begun recruitment for 2022-2023. She added that the said scammers further gave a number as a WhatsApp contact through which interested members of the public could chat Michael Luguji, the Director General of GPHA.
We realized that the WhatsApp profile picture was our Director General's picture, which was there, trying to give the public the information as if it is a real WhatsApp number of our Director General. And so we realized that it was serious, and we quickly have to put up the disclaimer to warn the public.
She stressed that GPHA has not caused any announcement via any medium to be made concerning any recruitment for 2022-2023, adding that its Director General does not own the contact number provided by the scammers.
There's no way our Director General will be the one responsible for recruiting for the organization. So if you have any information directing you to contact our Director General directly, it is just wrong. So something should tell you it is a scam.
She said the authority has laid down procedures for announcing recruitment opportunities and will do so through the approved channels when such opportunities came up.
We're able to advertise, even though, obviously we don't advertise mostly with our name. We will advertise in the dailies, on our website, and yes, sometimes on some of the online platforms.
Esther Jebidonko therefore advised the public to be mindful and cautious about such criminal elements who were out to dupe them. The Center for Maritime Training and Development Foundation has organized a training program for 10 younger women under the She Mentors Shipping Program. The beneficiaries are tertiary students, recent graduates, and young professionals who are aspiring to pursue careers in maritime, shipping, and logistics. The event, which will last for 6 months, included a training topic on CV, cover letter writing, resume, and emailing tips, which are essentials for their career success. The mentees will also have the opportunity to intern with a shipping company to give them industry exposure. A panel of industry professionals, including the immediate past queen of Ghana's most beautiful, Nadede Boothwe, shared their career journey experiences and highlighted the significance of networking to their career growth.
It takes education to be exposed to opportunities or be able to, take full benefit from the opportunities that, come our way.
The executive director of CMTD Foundation, Rikia Togbo, said the foundation intends to bridge the industry academia gap, which is essential for the young ladies to succeed.
We are going to take the mentees for the next 6 months. That's the duration for our mentoring program. And every month, they are going to be receiving training on personal development, personal branding, and then they also have the opportunity to visit industry companies.
Highly acclaimed crisis management company LCB Worldwide Ghana Limited and the Ghana Union of Traders Association GUTA has taken the Market Centers Fumigation Project to Cape Coast, the central regional capital. The fumigation train stopped in Cape Coast on January 29, 2022, as was the case with the Bosoka Spare Parts Market in the Greater Accra region and the 6 market centers in the Eastern Regional Capital, Koforidua. Thousands of shops were fumigated in Cape Coast in effort to ensure traders in the region go about their business in a conducive and congenial atmosphere. The 3 main market centers in Cape Coast, namely the Kotokraba Market, Anafo Market, and Ebura Market, were fully fumigated. The Market Centers Fumigation Project is an initiative of the LCB Worldwide Ghana Limited in collaboration with GUTA, with the overarching objective of supporting government's efforts to quell the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is done free of charge as part of the corporate social responsibility of the company. The plan, according to the Chief Executive Officer of LCB Worldwide Ghana Limited, Karim Abu, is to undertake the exercise across the country with a focus on market centers. Nana Kwabna Pepra, a national executive member of GUTA, expressed gratitude to the leadership of GUTA in the central region and the traders in general for their cooperation, which saw the exercise pass off smoothly.
This collaboration has been successful. All that we are saying is that we are praying that this will continue to other regions. LCB Worldwide has been very, very helpful to GUTA and Ghanaian traders. We appreciate them. We pray that all what they are doing in Ghana will be successful.
The leading oil marketing company in Ghana, GOIL Company Limited, has commissioned its refurbished atomic runabout service station at Kwabenya in Accra as part of a drive to serve motorists with quality fuel. GOIL currently has over 425 service stations across the country. The Chief Operating Officer of GOIL, Alex Aziu, at the opening explained the company introduced Super XP RON 95, a higher grade fuel, so it can be accessed by motorists at all GOIL service stations across the country and at the same cost being sold by other competitors.
RON 95, you can get it in every GOIL service station, and we have differentiated it from other products. So you see that when you go to the pump, you will see that the RON 95 is colored green, and the RON 91 that others sell are colored red. Anybody who uses RON 95 cannot testify or can testify to the fact that when they put RON 95 into their vehicles, they see a great difference in their vehicle.
He said GOIL sells the lowest sulfur content diesel in the country, which ensures that engines of vehicles are prolonged. He appealed to the public to patronize the company's newly introduced electronic payment systems that ensure a cashless and comfortable customer experience. The group CEO and MD of GOIL, Kwame Osei Prempeh, said GOIL will continue to refurbish its service stations to serve customers better.
Now we have over 425 stations in this country, service stations in this country. And our aim is to make all of them quality standard so that people who go there will get the real satisfaction, not only for our products, but for the environment. That's why we are putting up these first-class stations. And those of us who travel outside, we don't find, even in advanced countries, we don't find such stations easily. We find them on the highways where we can stop and rest, but we are putting up these stations to enhance the quality of service that GOIL provides to the people.
He said GOIL will continue to enhance its quality of service in addition to the quality of fuel it provides for motorists. The zonal manager south of GOIL, Helen Tremantin, said the Atomic Roundabout service station will serve as a one-stop shop for the public.
We've added non-fuels to it where you can get your stuff from the Go Cafe. We have modern lubricant service bay. We also have auto setter. The good news is that we've added restaurant to it. And we also have ATM where you don't have to go far to get your money to buy anything that you want from here.
All right, so those were some happenings in the port and maritime industry in the course of the week. It's now time for us to zoom into our discussion proper tonight. And tonight we're taking a look at a very serious issue. The issues or happenings in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea has given cause for concern to many. And, you know, there are attendant security risks or threats that, you know, confronts the sub-region, that's West Africa. And we also all recall that recently, just last week, you know, ECOWAS heads were in Accra, you know, to deliberate on ways of finding a lasting solution to some of these issues. We're talking about the coup d'etats, you know, in these three countries. And so tonight we're taking a look at the possible, you know, impact of the security threats on cross-border trade in West Africa. I'm proud this evening to introduce to you Alhaji Seydou Idrisu Idissa. He is the Deputy Commissioner at the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority in charge of ethics and good governance. He is better placed and positioned to help us, you know, unravel some of these threats that confront us as a sub-region in terms of cross-border trade. And so let me say good evening and welcome, Mr. Deputy Commissioner.
Good evening.
We're glad to have you. This is your second time.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
And I'm glad to be back here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, sir.
And Happy New Year to you all. And Happy New Year to the listeners too.
Thank you very much indeed. So first of all, I want you to tell us what the current, you know, security threats are, if there are any, that confronts us as a sub-region. Taking a look at what has happened in these three countries that I mentioned, Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, you know, and all that.
Yeah, West Africa has not been a stranger to, cross-border security threats. But since the new millennium started, we had thought that we're seeing a goodbye, gradually seeing a goodbye to, political upheavals in the countries. When we started democratizing and then taking regional integration into greater heights. But unfortunately, we are beginning to get that aspect of coup d'etats or political, change of government through military rule back into the system. And this is adding to already existing security threats because we already have, maritime piracy, cyber security, drug trafficking, and inter-tribal wars, which have also sometimes come, and then extremism. Extremism that comes with its relevance. Sometimes it comes along with banditry and other things.
Yes.
So this is a new development and it's adding to the existing ones. So we need to look closely at its effect.
I captured maritime piracy, I captured extremism. You mentioned about 4 of them. Which are the other 2 that you mentioned?
There's still cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, absolutely.
And then there is terrorism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And terrorism. So let's take them one after the other. Let's talk about maritime piracy. What's the situation like in our sub-region at the moment? When we talk about maritime piracy, what really comes to mind or what everybody thinks about is the Gulf of Guinea.
Yes.
Those days it was, the Horn of Africa and, the other places. But this time the concentration has been on Guinea.
Yes.
Gulf of Guinea. Tell us about the situation.
Maritime piracy has been with us for some time, and our Navy and other security services have been trying their best to curb it. But it continues to, raw its ugly head, and then it has taken a new term with bunkering of fuel. I mean, in addition to, so it has, increased the cost of doing business because every ship that enters our that is coming to our territories must, take security measures to protect the cargo from being attacked and the ship from being attacked. So because of that, it makes the cost of doing business in our sub-region a little higher than it would have been. And governments also have to equip the Navy and other services. In the sub-region, I think Nigeria have the highest Navy, followed by Ghana. And they are fully equipped, even though the government has done its best, but they still need more to be able to protect our territorial waters from this maritime piracy, because they are always in the increase, and these days we have been getting a lot of, fuel being, bunkered and taken to the shores, and some of them are not, they passed into a system that are passing through MPA and other checks to make sure that they are wholesome, and you can see its effect on the trade and, export in particular.
Yeah. All right, so that brings to mind the fact that recently, I think that was just last month, the government equipped the Navy with 4, warships, to patrol our territorial waters, which is a plus in terms of our quest to
that's why I'm saying the Ghana Navy in particular, and then they are doing very well, and most of the ships that come into our territorial waters are normally protected, and even quite recently they arrested a vessel that was that entered our territorial waters, claiming to be, flying the flag that was not, registered in Ghana. And the matter is still under investigation. So they are doing very well, but it is one of the security threats that is affecting trade in the sub-region. Yeah.
Absolutely. You mentioned the element of fuel bunkering. I think mostly that's the target of most pirates.
These days, that is a target. These days, because they want a community that can go very fast. And there is a ready market for fuel. So they always do it and load it into tankers at the beaches, and then they go to supply it at the fuel stations. And that accounts for some of the unhealthy fuel that we can find, and then the price disparities that we see in town. So it is a looming business right now, among the pirates and on the sea.
Absolutely. All right, so let's take a look at cyber security. How serious is this trend or phenomenon?
Yeah, cyber security is, especially with its effect on trade, is quite serious. There are people who have, it affects what we call it, the purchase of goods outside. People forge, through the cyber distance, they are able to hijack, to invite people, collect their monies, and say they are supplying them with goods, and it turns out to be fake.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, they are able to present documents that look genuine, from bill of lading to other trade documents that look very genuine, and they are using it to defraud, people. Some are also posing as even agents of, suppliers and manufacturers, and also attracting people who believe them and then come in and send monies to them, and eventually they are duped. So it's a very serious, occurrence now in the trade atmosphere.
Now, my understanding is that with cybersecurity, some of these miscreants are able to hack into the systems of the vessel and divert the course.
They do that. Even the vessels themselves, they are able to hack into the vessels, divert the course to places where they were not going, and then take the contents away from and some, or at least some of the contents. Sometimes when they divert them into dangerous zones where they can overpower them.
Yes.
And it is one of the tricks that the pirates use. With the help of cyber security. They are also able to even hack into the manifest.
Yeah.
And sometimes
the cargo manifest.
Yes, cargo manifest.
Wow.
And sometimes
that's where you are able to see everything.
And they are able to know what the ship is carrying, and then they can pick their targets from it.
All right. So this means that they have collaborators. It's kind of like an organized.
Of course, it's an organized crime. So there's always collaborators, and sometimes we need to expand our, surveillance and then intelligence to be able to pick up those who are collaborating with them. Yeah.
All right. So maritime piracy, cybersecurity, extremism, terrorism. How do these threats affect cross-border trade?
Yeah, you know, these days, the world is an interdependent world. In fact, those days, even when we were children, we used to eat mostly food grown here. But these days, more than 70% of the food that we eat comes from outside.
Yeah.
So apart from the fact that we export, goods outside and then import majority of our foodstuffs and commercial items here, that is a fact.
Yeah.
Then these threats hinder the smooth flow of goods to and from Ghana.
Yeah.
And then and Ghana also plays a very important role in the ECOWAS transit routes.
Yeah.
So if they are affecting Ghana, they are indirectly affecting the other countries. Then with terrorism, even though we have not got the full impact, even though we are beginning to see signs of it entering, and our security services are trying to nab it before it gets worse.
Yes.
It is attacking our neighboring countries.
Yes.
And that is where some of the goods are being sent to. So if there is trade insecurity there, they cannot receive goods or they are being displaced. You can imagine the effect it will have on trade in general.
Yes.
So whether we are attacked physically here or our neighbors are attacked, we will still feel the impact in trade, because our ports and our exit points serve as routes for both our imports and then and exports.
Now, what's your assessment? You are with the good governance, ethics and good governance, and I know you've worked a lot on this e-tracking, you've worked a lot on, security and all that. What's the current state of our cross-border trade within the sub-region, West Africa?
Luckily enough, we haven't yet, we haven't yet experienced any effect of these things directly on our, on our cross-border trade, to the effect that we start losing, seeing reduction in trade volumes. But we are countries that are targeted by our our trading partners. We are targeted because of this conflicts and extremism and this, and they bring in, and then the drug trades, goods coming here or coming to Ghana or going out from Ghana are scrutinized. More than they normally would have been.
Yes.
Because they feel that they may be concealments of arms and drugs in them. And the West Africa continue to be the hub for illicit drugs from Southeast Asia, which come through here to Europe and the Americas.
Yeah.
And it has been a very serious hindrance to the smooth flow of trade from here to that place. And also we are also the recipient of arms and ammunitions, which fuel these bandits.
Yeah.
And they pass it through our transit routes. And we have to speed up our checks, because currently the way we check our goods may not necessarily detect some of these things that we're talking about. If a truckload of tomato is coming from Burkina Faso, and most of the borders don't even have detectors to determine whether the tomato or concealed inside.
Yeah.
We don't have the necessary facilities, and these are some of and because of the wars over there from Libya and North Africa, they have been able to ship in a lot of these weapons through these means, and they come into our system, and they are being used by armed robbers who are attacking, travelers and trade on the highways.
Yes.
So it has a relationship with each other, and we need to step up our security checks on the way.
All right, I'll come back to this issue of lack of equipment or facilities to be able to check illicit trafficking of arms, ammunition, and all that. Yeah.
Yes, and even training, because officers must be trained well enough to know to know where to suspect goods that they should suspect.
Sure.
Areas of the conveyance, the car or the ship that they should check, or even the container. Sometimes we are more particular about the inside of the container. When the container, there are certain areas that things can be concealed.
Wow.
And we need enough training and collaboration to be able to detect some of these things. Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at the cross-border trade. Do we have figures of volumes? What are the figures like? I mean, are we doing well?
Oh, generally, interstate, trade between the West African states.
Yeah.
It is, according to the surveys that has been done, it's about 8 to 12% of the total trade within the area.
Right.
Some too have, attack it because they feel that most of the trades, most of the trade happens within the unauthorized borders, and even those which passes through the borders are not well documented.
Yeah.
So they feel that the 8 to 12% by volume is on the low side.
Right.
But our trade with the outside world, Europe, US, and Asia, are well documented, and it takes more than 75% of our the volumes of trade.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me come back to the issue of lack of facilities to ensure that we don't have trafficking of illicit goods, arms, ammunition, like you just mentioned, and even drugs. And sometimes, you mentioned, you gave the scenario of a truck which is loaded with tomatoes. Yeah. There could be some concealment of some sort in it, and we don't have the capacity to be able to check and verify and nab these things or nip these things in the back. But so, how soon are we likely to overcome this challenge? Because we can't look on helplessly.
Yeah, the West African sub-region have since 1982 been coming out with ways of improving the exchange of information. On transit trade and inter-state trade, and we have also been developing other structures like trying to deal with our counterparts at the other side, because sometimes this silo mentality of conducting what we call checks is affecting us in West Africa so much, because these days the technique is to expand your horizon beyond even to the port of loading, even before it comes to your port. You start checking it from that side, and then you exchange information with your counterparts there. Yeah. These are things that we are currently working on. In fact, we have a number of exchanges, and that's why we always demand manifest to come early, so that we can do a lot of checks on it, and we have information that are being exchanged from embassies, from custom to customs, and from ports to ports. But within our borders, that is where we are still working on this integrated border management concept, where we can have, officers, customs and immigration and other border officers in Ghana working together, sharing information, doing things that they can do together, and also working with their counterparts at the other side of the border, because the border is not for just one country. Yeah. It belongs to the two. We are also trying to look at West Africa is introducing the concept of one stop border post. These are all means of making sure that, we may talk of it later, but these are means of making sure that we can exchange information and do things together and facilitate genuine trade, at the same time frustrate and intercept those who try to take advantage of those smooth flow of goods. Yes.
In the advanced countries, when you go, most of their borders, you find customs officials with sniffer dogs and all that, trying to help them contain some of these situations. Do we have any such plans to perhaps also? I understand some time ago, in the not recent past, we had some of these dogs in the port. That was what to help check the vessels and all that.
Yeah, the Custom Division introduced the dock unit. About 5 years ago, and with the help of Danida, we're able. And the Army dock unit, were able to, acquire some dogs, train the dogs with the officers who are to handle them, and we have started deploying them. Of course, there are still some challenges. We have even built a facility for the training of both the dogs and the officers, because the dog have senses that are more than 100 times that of the human being, and they have advantages that we human beings don't have, because you can't bribe a dog. When he detects something, he he has detected it. He doesn't have classmates, he doesn't have superiors, he doesn't recognize them, but this is my boss, so he tells to. So these are some of the advantages, and we have but it is still at the introductive stage. We are deploying them occasionally at the airport and the Tema port, but we intend to escalate it to all the major borders in Ghana. That will help detect these contraband goods, like narcotics, currency, that is for currency, and then arms and ammunition.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at the strategies that customs officials operating at the insecure borders can deploy in order not to compromise payment of duties and all that. We just talked about smuggling and all those things.
Yeah. The major strategies that we are deploying is the international cooperation and internal cooperation with other, port and other security agencies. Because if this, the ports are the legal places for the import and export of goods, but there are also the borderlands, which must be properly patrolled if you are to, and the patrol is not limited to just customs. We have our preventive listen, but if we are not adequately resourced with personnel to do that. But luckily enough, we have other agencies like the Ghana Immigration Service who are more even resourced with border patrol officers. And so we have come out with this, the strategy we are using is this integrated border management, which we can do joint patrols, share informations, and share intel. We also, not only immigration, it has to do with all the border security agencies, the NACOP, BNI has changed their name to NIB. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I always refer to them as BNI, but they are now NIB. Yes. Then other agencies, and including the police. So these are strategies that we are using. And then we are also collaborating, like I said, with our counterparts from the other side of the border. In actual fact, when we talk of a border at the other side of the border, any place that either cargo comes or cargo or persons come straight to your border. Let's say there's a flight from South Africa to Ghana. There's a flight from New York to Ghana. They are joint. They are our neighbors. Because anything that leaves South Africa, within 6 hours, any threat it will arrive in Ghana even faster than the one that leaves Boku by route, which is in Ghana to Accra. So we do this kind of collaborations both internally and across our borders to ensure that we can interdict some of these things even way before they come into our area, our jurisdictions. Also, we are trying to collaborate with non-governmental organizations, which is very important because in the past we've left that one out, and they have a lot of information and also expertise to help us identify, some of these border threats. We also are developing a situation where we'll deal with border residents. The traditional border residents have a different view of border security from us because that is their territories. They have been there before the border was drawn. They have relatives, and sometimes their economic activities are done across the border. We go there and see them as smugglers and criminals, and we don't cooperate with them. They also see us as, government trying to interfere in their normal lives. So this lack of cooperation leaves a lot of gaps for these transnational criminals to take advantage of. But if we were to, so we are beginning to see how we can engage the opinion leaders, border residents, listen to them. In some jurisdictions, when you go, you will see that a border resident can cross the border and go up to 25 kilometers, buy things and come back, and he's given that leverage. They can trade within themselves without necessarily following, going through some of the rigorous, rules, compliance rules that we use. So, but if we start, talking with them, we'll be able to get their needs, they also understand our role, and then we can get them as partners instead of seeing each other as enemies. And this will prevent them from being recruited by these, transnational criminals. Because when we I always use this example. When we started producing oil from the Jubilee fields, it has some effect on the negative effect on the fishermen who were doing fishing there.
Yes.
If you don't engage them, try to see how they can continue their fishing activities while you drill your oil, or you can get alternative jobs for them, and you just ignore them because you are using central government power. They are likely to see you as an enemy, and anybody who is also an enemy to you, and that includes the pirates and this, and they will join them.
Yeah.
Provide information for them and even get them, give them any assistance.
Yeah.
But if you are able to engage them and talk to them, you will understand their needs, meet them halfway, and they also meet you, and you become friends, and that will increase the security of around that area for trade to go on smoothly.
You mentioned the issue of cooperation between the officials of customs at the borders and then residents of the borders, and that was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask you, whether there indeed is that peaceful coexistence between them, where you can have residents volunteer information to customs officials, to help them curb this trend of smuggling and other illegal acts in our borders.
Yeah, there is some element of cooperation, but there's a room for improvement. So far, what we hitherto we're only enticing those who want to come to us for a reward. When you arrest them, you give them a reward. Some are not interested in that. Some are genuine people who wants to everybody to obey the rules, and they would like to volunteer this thing, but they are afraid of either they don't trust you.
Yeah, sure, because you can give them out.
You can give them out.
Yeah, sure.
So these are engagements we are now trying to do through, talking to them through their opinion leaders, chiefs, and establishing methods for them to easily get in touch with us with information, or even if they need any assistance, so that we can have, peaceful coexistence and share information that will help protect they themselves and the trading and passengers that pass through the borders. So it is an engagement that we are doing under the Integrated Border Management. We have set up a team of who are coming from the public relations of all the security agencies, and they have got a team that have come out with a plan that we are going to roll out in all the border areas that will help enhance this.
I'll come back to my other questions, which basically will be centered on the capacity building and training for customs officers at the borders, and indeed whether these officers that are manning these borders are actually motivated. But let me find out from you. Give us some more details about this integrated border management system that you are talking about. You mentioned it several times in your observations.
Yeah, I've mentioned it because it is one of the modern methods of border management. Border management is not a one agency. The duty of one agency.
Yeah, you have the immigration, you have customs.
Let's take Tema.
Yeah.
The port authorities are there.
Yeah.
GPHA. They have terminal managers.
Yeah.
We have immigration. We have national security. We have customs. We have narcotic control board.
Food and Drugs
Board.
Standards Authority.
All of them have a role to play in managing the border. So, and all of them have laws that establish them. But the laws that establish them just define their rules and their functions.
Absolutely.
With that, actually thinking of how they overlap each other. Because if you are, the concept of integrated border management was developed by the World Customs Organization and the World Trade Organization to make sure that all agencies that have something to do with the movement of people and goods should work in tandem. They should look at overlapping functions so that they can streamline it. Some they can do together, some they can allow others to do on their behalf. Some, and then they can coordinate and make sure that the free flow of information that will enable those who are complying, both passengers and goods, and traders who are complying, to move smoothly. At the same time, they can interdict those who want to abuse the system. So it is a concept that we started with the help of the U.S. Government. And we had gone far. We had come, because of when you are going to do it, there must be government, government must buy into it. If government doesn't buy into it, it cannot work.
There's no way to work,
And the current government had, supported it. And the national security is supporting it with all the, and we had gone to draw a memorandum of agreement between the various actors. Because just to cooperate, because our laws...
Memorandum of understanding.
Yes, because our laws, our parent laws do not sometimes tell us that we should coordinate with each other. Meanwhile, when you are there, you realize that
practically
you have to.
Yes.
So we have done this thing that says that we should share information, we should work together, we can share facilities even, because sometimes you go somewhere and then you have enough facilities and others don't have. You must share it and, I mean, do our operations together. And it has both the national and the international aspects of it, like I said. While you are cooperating here, if you don't cooperate with your counterparts at the other side, you will still have some challenges. So it is one of the methods we are using to make sure that movement of goods and people across borders are smooth, and then at the same time, it meets the security needs of the countries involved.
All right. So tell us about efforts you are making to ensure that officers that are manning these borders that we're talking about are well trained, they receive training, they receive capacity building, they are well motivated in order to deliver.
Yeah, it is an ongoing thing, because generally we have identified a number of constraints that the officers are having. And under this program, and even the individual the agencies have their own training, but we feel that there are certain modern trainings, like I said. When I always use an example, when we were joining customs, the training was that every border resident is a potential smuggler. That was the perception they gave to you at the training school. So if you see somebody, every trader, you feel that a trader is looking for ways to beat the system. So you see him as a potential...
Mr. Deputy Commissioner, if you could draw your microphone close.
You see him as a potential smuggler. But with modern tools and training, we have realized that no, most of the traders will like to comply if you make it easy for them to comply, and if they know what they need to comply with. So these days at training, we tell people that, look, every trader is a potential ally instead of a smuggler. Because with adequate training, we must engage them. We must train officers how to engage them, how to help them to comply. We have established units that can help traders and agents to
make things
easier for them. So these kind of trainings, and then like I said, we also need to provide certain logistics. These days we have technology has come a long way that you can detect a lot of things without necessarily doing physical examination. You can detect whether there's concealment of certain things by the use of K9s, by the use of technology. And these are some of the things that we are trying to make sure that all the border agencies are trained and equipped with those things.
And how soon is this?
Oh, it is ongoing. For instance, as we are talking under the agreement we are doing with the U.S. government, they have brought us some equipment that will help us set up joint operation centers where we'll be exchanging, all the agencies will be meeting to exchange, to do joint operations and then exchange information. They have brought us some equipment which we are yet to distribute. They have also brought us some of these mirrors that you can use to look under the truck and see whether there have been certain
concealment.
And we can train. We have to train the officers of the use of it before we hand it over to them. So this is an ongoing process, but a lot have to be done because we are moving from one system to another, and we need a lot of training to make sure that officers are abreast with the modern methods because we want to make sure that they don't interfere so much into the privacy of passengers and cargo, but at the same time are able to get the information that they need.
All right. So we're talking about Burkina Faso, we're talking about Mali, we're talking about Guinea and the security threats that they pose in terms of possible threats, impact on cross-border trade. And I want to find out from you, candidly, should we have cause to worry?
Yes, because governance has a direct relationship with security. And these days, the West Africa as a sub-region is an economic union. Certain protocols have been passed and rules, procedures put in place for trade, to facilitate trade. But normally when there is these coups and, they pay attention to regime survival rather than implementing some of these, for instance, even the coup has made ECOWAS to suspend, let's say, Mali. This suspension means that all the cooperation you were doing will have to come to an end. And it is just not Mali. Some of the goods pass through Mali to other places. So it will definitely affect trade. Some of the investments that they were doing will, to facilitate trade will come to a standstill. And if these coups are repeating at other places, and the same measures are going to be used, because either they themselves normally close down borders, or external bodies will say that no, we won't deal with you again. It will have an effect on trade.
Absolutely.
And secondly, it creates insecurity sometimes at certain regions, and especially the rural areas. And you realize that government security presence at those places are very limited, and people take advantage of it, and interrupt trade. You will see bandits blocking roads. You will see them attacking businesses. So it will affect production, it will affect distribution, and it will affect the movement of goods. So these are potential threats to, trade. We must be thinking of it and looking for alternative ways of handling it. Either the political way at the sub-regional level and even the AU level, and what do you call it? The United Nations level is there. But we must also be looking at practically what we can do on the ground to make sure that trade is not adversely affected by such happenings. Some of those things is what I was talking about. If you have collaboration with others, even if there is danger, there's no need to let the goods go there before the danger, it is attacked or seized by some people. And you can identify an alternative route to send the goods. Yes, and those alternative routes also come with these challenges.
Absolutely. That was one of the questions I was going to ask, because there are others who think that with all these threats that are being posed by happenings in these countries, they probably could be the development of new trade routes that could probably be the panacea to cross-border trade. It was one of the questions I was going to pose to you.
Yes, I think development new trade rules can only be temporal, in the sense that the existing trade, nobody forces a trader to pass through a trade route. He chooses the trade route that is more direct and more cost-effective to him. If there's a threat on that route and you decide to, let's say, lift the goods by air instead of by the road, because most often the airports are more secured. If you want, and the harbors are more secured. So if you want to lift the goods by air, it will come with extra costs. And some goods, by the nature of them, either by weight or their volumes, it is difficult to do that. So it can only be a temporal thing while we look at other solutions to the normal trade routes. Otherwise, if it is an idea that will be considered immediately, because if you are, for instance, if you are passing through Paga and there is, insecurity at the Burkina side, and you can pass through Kulongungu, it is something you can do until the insecurity is arrested. If that is a different trade route. But it also means that using other means of transport. The conveyance can change. Instead of using trucks, you can use planes.
Right.
But it also comes with other challenges. One of the things West African countries can also do in the long run is to develop the railway, because it is the best way of transport. Sending goods on transit from one country to another. When the goods are loaded onto a train and it is destined for a particular country, filtrations and diversions are...
You avoid all those.
Yes. And that is one of the things that other, trade unions, trade associations, countries that have come together have been able to use. If you go to East Africa, they have used it effectively.
Right.
And it has solved most of the challenges that we are talking about. Because if it is a train moving, it is easy, it is carrying a whole lot of goods at one time. And it is easy to monitor and make sure that it is safe than individual lorries moving at their own time.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things, but it is a long time something, and we urge the West African countries to look at it because it will aid the movement of goods across the countries.
Right. Yeah. All right. So this is Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television, and tonight we are discussing the security threats in West Africa, in our sub-region, and the possible impact on cross-border trade. With me in the studios during the discussion is Deputy Commissioner of Customs Division in charge of Ethics and Good Governance, Alhaji Seydou Idrisu Idisa. We're going for a quick break. We'll be back shortly. Please stay.
Every now and again, GOIL makes good things happen. This time, GOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GOIL has that sorted. GOIL, good energy.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water, or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Impressive factory. If only I had listened to you, I wouldn't have been in this mess. That devastating fire virtually wiped out the whole factory and my warehouse.
Remember my misfortunes last year? Serene Insurance Asset All Risks Fire policy that I took were there to pay for my damaged stocks in the warehouse, and my machines that were affected by the floods have been replaced. My accident vehicle is back on the road thanks to Serene Insurance motor policy. Currently, my goods are on the IC, covered with their marine cargo insurance policy. I was just telling Ajima about Serene Insurance. Oh, Ajima, tell him more.
As a road contractor, I make sure I do my contractors all risk insurance for the projects, and then workers' compensation for all the workers on site. With Serene Insurance, they will make sure they will cover your unknown tomorrow today.
Serene Insurance, a new face of insurance. Call us now.
All right, so you're welcome back. It's now time for us to go back into the discussion, and we still have Deputy Commissioner, Customs Division, Ghana Revenue Authority in charge of Ethics and Good Governance, Alhaji Seydou Idrisu Idisa, in the studio. So I've been told by my producers that we can activate the phone line. So you can call in and then contribute to the discussion. We would also be going into your messages pretty shortly. Someone has sent a question. I'd want you to answer that, Mr. Deputy Commissioner, and then we'll continue. This one says, hello, I am Port. I am Asiedu. I am at one of the border towns and witnessed some of the deplorable conditions under which some of the customs officers work. I think it will take the fear of the Lord and commitment to the nation for one to resist temptation from traders. We need to do something about that. Do you agree?
I agree totally with him. In fact, if you go to some of the outposts, you will feel, very sad for the officers who are posted there. Apart from the facilities not being enough and modern, they have remained and the way they were done, they were constructed and they have deteriorated. The officers have no contact and to the outside world, and they have been left there as if nobody. And the nature of our work is such that when you are at that places, you are the Commissioner General, you are the Commissioner. Because you take decisions on the spot that are supposed to be taken, by the decision. And if you are faced with those kind of challenges, it has security implications. Most often, they are not even enough. You go to a place, and there are about 3 officers manning the place. And if we are talking of these security threats, and they are just abandoned there, they are likely to compromise
the officers.
Yes, with the traders, instead of doing what they have been asked to do. So it is a major concern but management has come to a knowledge of management, because the Commissioner Custom has taught most of the border posts and have written extensively on it, and management and the board is taking serious look at it. Yeah, but it is a true observation that he has made. Yeah.
Now, Ziad Hamouy of the Borderless Alliance has sent a message. He says it would be interesting to explore how the train link from Cote d'Ivoire got affected by the military coup in Burkina. He wants to know whether you can give us some update on that.
The trade links?
Yes.
Yeah, like I was saying, when there is a coup, government attention is turned away from implementation of international agreements and trade facilitation policies to the immediate regime survival. And sometimes they say that they were not even part of that agreement.
Right.
So it brings all those things to a standstill for a very long time. International bodies are also likely to even start boycotting them and putting sanctions on them, which make it more difficult. And like I always say, most of these sanctions affect trade, and for that matter, the population, more than even the rulers. And I think that, yes, it will have an effect, because it will have a delay effect. It will have, non-compliance effects on some of these ECOWAS trade protocols that we have put down for member states to comply with. So it is a threat to trade.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I want you to bring us up to speed with the state of the joint border post thing that Customs introduced some time ago, or whether you are still planning to roll it out.
The joint border post is an ECOWAS initiative. In actual fact, it is a tool for trade facilitation developed by the World Customs Organization. And it is, the idea is that to facilitate trade between countries, normally a border has 2 stops. You stop at the exiting point, and they will do the border controls, both immigration, customs, and all the other controls. Then you go to the admitting country, and you have to stop there again for the same controls to be done.
Yes.
So the idea of a joint border post is to have these controls brought in under one roof, so that when you come in and you are checking the passenger, immigration is checking the passenger, they do it together with the immigration of the receiving country.
Right.
And there are rules and laws governing it. As long as the exiting immigration officers they have not yet finished their processes. If there is anything that they have to do it first before it has not gone to the other side. If you are going to cargo comes moving to the other side, for instance, if you are going to do physical examination, the other customs are also there. So you can jointly do the physical examination. Then the exiting country will go through their processes. And when they finish and they are satisfied and they move on to the other side, they don't need to do to offload the goods again as it is currently happening. You go to the other side. So you realize that they have brought all the control measures under one, to be done at once, instead of being done twice. And that wastes the time and causes, add cost to trade. So that is the idea of a joint, a joint or one-stop border post. There are 3 methods of doing that. Normally, you can post officers to each other's border.
Right.
So that when the goods are going to this thing, they do it jointly. Okay. When you go to the other side,
so it means we can have Ghanaian customs officers at the station at Burkina Faso, and then we have the officials also.
And immigration officers. So when something is moving from Ghana to this thing, both the the passengers and the goods will be examined together here at once. When they finish and they are going, I mean, the other side will not, I mean, they will have information and then they will let them pass, and vice versa. But it goes with a lot of tools, because your systems must be able to talk to each other. And other legal and procedural rules have to be established. So, I mean, it is practiced in most parts of the world. And, I mean, West Africa, we are a bit late in implementing them. In actual fact, if you go to East Africa, it's very common. But West Africa, they started it at Akano-Nope border between Ghana and Togo. And then they also one at the Benin-Nigerian border. In fact, it started full operation last year. The one at Akano started full operation last year, even though there are still some implementation. And they intended to do another one at Elubu, which is also under construction, and one at Paga. But I have always recommended that because it has different ways of doing it. If we had used the one they have done at Akano, is the one they built a facility where all of you at the middle of the border, where all of you move inside. But like I said, you can either also all move to one side and leave the other border, or share personnel to do it the same thing at each borders. And I think that if we had adopted that, it is easier. We could have implemented it at most of our transit routes to make it easy. So I have always recommended that it is a decision that has to be taken from the very top. I have always recommended that we should rather use the other methods. It is easier to implement it at a very short time than to wait to finish building. The Akano Nope one was, ECOWAS was building it with the help from the European Union. They finished building it more than 4 years ago, and ECOWAS was to equip it, and it took a long time. It's only last year that we have been able to start operating it, and even not all its facilities are working as of now, because the interconnectivity is still not a problem. But West African countries are working on that one too. So that is what it has advantages. It speed up trade. It enhances information and intelligence exchange, and you can easily interdict. Because when you are doing it, the other side is there. So even if he's meeting your laws and he's not meeting their laws, they are aware before even the thing comes to them. You see, so it is a tool for trade facilitation.
All right. So the number to dial once again is 020-552-8353, 020-552-8353. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. Now, you mentioned a few of the benefits that can accrue from the implementation of the joint border post thing. What would be, if you would like, some of the factors or some of the impact it will have on trade facilitation in general, apart from those that you mentioned? Are there any others that you want to share with us?
Yes. Most often we see each other, operatives, from both countries see each other as enemies. We believe that, our rules are not the same. And even our working times, sometimes, let me use this age-old thing about Togo and Ghana. Sometimes you will release goods and the Togolese side have a longer break. You will have sometimes we don't even use our 1 hour break. We allow people to work in tents, but they will go to the other side and they'll say they have closed. They have closed for break. But when you are doing a joint border, all these are part of your procedures you put together. So it makes the working times and this thing are harmonized and synchronized. And then your systems are synchronized, so you can easily exchange information, trade information to each other. Traders will not be able to, you are not just lying. Currently, when goods leave the Togo side and come to Ghana side, it is a paper they will bring to you. And sometimes even they will come without a paper. And you have to redo all the checks. But the joint distance calls for your system to be connected to each other. So the moment you have already done, you finish and you click the button, the thing goes to the other side. He only looks at it, and he is able to satisfy all the columns that he needs to check. And then it goes. If there are loopholes, you are already giving a hint before even the trader personally comes to them. It also encourages the movement of all people and goods very easily, so that it looks like you. I mean, I don't know whether you've ever traveled between Canada and. It does not, like I said, it's not just even on the. You can even do it at the airport.
Right.
Canada and the US. When they check you in at Canada and you get to US, it's like traveling from here to Kumasi.
Yeah.
You just pick your bag and you start going. They won't check you again because they have met the checks at the Canadian port has met all the requirements and that can be done. So joint border posts can be done in several ways, and it encourages trade and travel among nations, and it also enhances security and protect the countries from, all sort of terrorism and trafficking of commodities.
Yeah. Okay, this message says, good evening, this is Pokuya from Tema. Please ask your guest how we can balance the facilitation of movement of legal persons and goods to enable the country to benefit from the open relationship with the rest of the world, and at the same time preventing the situations that threaten the security of the state.
Yeah, I think that's just what we were discussing. It is through the advanced knowledge that we get from this cooperation. When you exchange information from security agencies from one side of the border to another, you can easily, determine the danger even before it lands. So sometimes that is the best way of facilitating this thing. You use advanced information, sharing of what do you call it? Look at what we do with a manifest. When a ship is coming, the manifest take the lead. In fact, if you have a relationship with the exiting point, they even give you certain hints about certain cargo. So before it comes, you will do risk assessment. It is done for persons, it is done for goods who are on the manifest, whether it's an air manifest or ship manifest. So you are able to tell that this person, he's on our wanted list, or he's somebody who resembles some information you had, so you come to check, or these goods are of this nature that you need to do further, instead of, either to scan it properly or to do physical distance. And those which complies, when they come and the person, the documentation the person brings comply with what you already have, he doesn't waste time. And majority, more than, if you start implementing it and people even know that you are doing it, more than 70 to 80% of the goods coming will pass through, that, hindrance. And that is why when we started this advanced cargo, this thing, you see people can do a declaration even long before the goods come. So when the goods come, immediately they finish offloading, he can move with the goods. These are all measures that are international and which we are putting in place to facilitate the movement of people and genuine trade and travel. But at the same time, while you are facilitating it, you must always have countermeasures to detect those who want to abuse it. And sometimes that is, people talk about the few that you are putting the emphasis on instead of the majority that you are allowing to pass. People can clear their goods down within a day. If everything is correct. But people don't emphasize on that. They only emphasize on the ones that have problems. Either they have not presented the right documents, or there are some, risk that you want to go through before.
Okay, so this one says, good evening. Okay, what collaboration exists between customs and the Joint Port Control Unit at the Tema port?
We are part of it. We are part of that unit. So we exchange information. In fact, when the government said we should do joint port control, what they mean is that if we have different agencies, like we earlier on said, like Food and Drugs Board, Narcotic Control Board, Immigration, if there is something coming and the narcotics has information of the goods that is coming, that there is some concealment of narcotics there is no need for them to keep that information. Wait for customs to finish all their processes, then they will intercept it to also go through and see. We can do jointly. They can just inform us, and when we are doing the examination, they will be there.
Okay.
So anybody who has an interest, he makes it known to other partners before you do, so that you will do it. The aim is that it is a suspicion until you, allegation until you prove it. So do it together. If you are able to get it, then you put the preventive measures and security procedures in place.
Yeah.
So we are part of them, and we collaborate, hand in hand with every other agency there.
Yeah. All right, can you please help us with a list of the major borders we have in our country where we are very active?
Oh, we have about 55 borders, where it is open. People can come in and go out through the processes laid down. Of course, we have major borders, which are about 5. That is what do you call it?
Aflao,
Elubo, Paga, and then when you go to the what do you call it? The Western region, we have
is it the Enchi side?
Yes, we have, but there are plenty other borders that you can pass. They are illegal for you to pass through. But they are about 54.
55. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So the last time we had a discussion with the president of the Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders, Mr. Eddie Akron, he raised an issue which is of concern to them, and he was not happy with attempts by customs to move some of the operations at the Aflao border to Akanu. What is the story? What is the issue?
Like I told you, the Akanu border was built with the aim of moving. It's as a one-stop border post between Togo and Ghana. And if you are familiar with Aflao border, it is part. It is, in fact, we have always been warning, and if you go to security meetings, they've always been warning that it is a time bomb because it is in the middle of the town.
Yeah.
And apart from that, there's even currently there's even a, what do we call it? A mall at the border.
A mall?
Mall, where people can come and buy goods. Yeah. Not necessarily, it's not a duty-free shop. No. And you see traders at all parts of the distance. So it is the security, of that border. If a terrorist want to attack Ghana, we think that is one of the areas that they can easily attack. So the aim, when the concept of the one-step border post was being built at Akanu, Akanu is just a few distance from this thing. And we intend that all the transit distance should pass through there, and commercial imports should pass through there, so that only head loads and passengers can be passing through Aflao itself. That will reduce the security risks of the Aflao border distance, and also facilitate the movement, because, like I said, one stop border post is supposed to facilitate movement of goods and people. So if we have built it, and it's just a stone throw from this thing where everybody can go there, why do you insist that you want to go through Aflao border, which is still using the traditional border, two stops border? So the advantages far outweighs the distance. But people always resist change. Even if the change is for good, they resist it. Unless they move there after some time, they will see that it is for their betterment. So
the point he raised, which he made forcefully, was that Aflao is Aflao because of the activities of the traders and all that. And he thinks that if you take these operations out of Aflao to Akanu, it's going to leave the place a ghost town. That was exactly what he used.
I don't think it will. Aflao will not be, like I said, head loads will still be allowed to pass there. Passengers will still be allowed to pass there. It is the passengers who buy the goods that are being sold along the routes, not the transit goods that is passing there. And most often, yes, every decision you take, there are some issues that will come out from it. It may temporarily affect certain businesses, but it will also open up the same businesses along Akanu, and people can relocate and do that business there. If it is not, and Aflao will be more decent than before. I don't think it will affect. It's just because people resist change.
Okay.
It's like when the road was being constructed from the Kumasi road was, and some places it had to dodge certain towns. There was that complaint, but those towns are still, doing businesses. Yes, they are still active.
Right.
It's just that, people will resist change, but it is for the betterment of trade. The idea is to facilitate trade. Aflao, there's so much congestion. In fact, Aflao, if we examine goods and they have to go to the Togo site, they don't have space for the cars to park.
Right.
The Togo customs. So sometimes they leave it at our site and come back to do it.
Right.
You get the point.
Yes, I do.
And you see the number of people who pass there. After the number of people who pass there, it will still continue. It is the major transit goods and import cargo that we want to move to the other side. Yeah.
All right. So I want to find out from you, have you started implementing this particular, directive of moving some of the operations from Aflao to, you have started?
Yeah, it has started.
When did it start?
It started gradually because it's not, we don't want to make it, it started last year, like I said, but we don't want to, if you started and just say no, everybody should move now, it has its implications. But,
Right.
Majority of them are now using that route. Yeah.
All right. This one says, Ghana is surrounded by French-speaking countries and therefore needs officials who can communicate effectively in French at the borders. However, knowledge of the French language is not a prerequisite for recruitments of the agents that work at the nation's borders. It does not also form part of their training programs. This can become a means used by traders and travelers to manipulate them. This one is from Joshua in Tamale. Do you agree?
I agree with him. In fact, it has come out at management meetings that we should try to introduce, the French language into some part of our recruitment and then part of our trainings at our academy, both customs and immigration and other border agencies. Because unlike we are surrounded, in fact, the English-speaking countries in West Africa are not many, but the French rather learn the English more than we learn. When we're in school, we're all joking with the French, but if we make it a distance, there's a lot of people who have also done the French language. And we can easily teach communication, the communication, because most officers have even learned French a little. And it will be, if the basic one, the one that you can use to interrogate a trader or a passenger, we can easily teach it at our schools. So it is one of those which has come up and is being considered at the trainings by management. Yeah. So
all right. So we shall be wrapping up in the next 2 minutes. I just want you to bring us up to speed with the situation of our tracking devices, and all the issues of diversion and all that. How far have we come? Because I know you have been very active, in this area.
Well, the tracking devices have brought a lot of advantages, but there are complementary things that should go with it that are not sometimes available, which have some challenges. But we are doing our best with it. Diversion have actually reduced, but it still occurs. The issue is that most of the devices, it relies on connectivity, internet connectivity, and sometimes, connectivity breaks.
Yeah, sure.
And then currently we also use devices that are, I have advocated this thing, and I know management is looking at it. It needs a policy. The World Customs Organization insists that transit goods in particular should not be carried by loose cargo trucks.
Containerization of cargo. You mentioned it the last time you were here. I mentioned that
time, and I still think that it is the best way of helping in facilitating transit trade and also checking abuses. Transit trade, all goods going on transit, at least most of them should be in containerized cargo. It is easy to use the tracking device on the doors of the containerized cargo and monitor it effectively, then tying ropes around the goods on the loose cargo and putting this in there, because sometimes they cut the ropes. We have arrested, we have done, currently my unit does investigations, and we have had situations where people have removed these transit devices. They have not tampered with it.
Yes.
Because it is on the loose cargo. They will just cut the ropes that are that they've tied to, put it in OSA, or even sometimes they are private cars. And go and be going. And when you are watching the screen, you will see it's going.
It's moving, but
the cargo itself is not going.
Sure.
And they are able to go, and with the connivance of some officers, they will close it that it has crossed. But if we had, there are better ways, there are better systems of monitoring, and there are better transport conveyances that you can use to limit. You can never 100% eliminate crime, but you can limit it to the minimum.
All right.
And I think we still have a way to go there. And management is considering that.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. Deputy Commissioner, Customs Division, Ghana Revenue Authority, in charge of ethics and good governance, Alhaji Seidu Idrisu Idisa. We've been discussing security threats in West Africa and the possible impact on cross-border trade here on Iron Port on Metropolitan Television. Many thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, GOIL Company Limited, Serene Insurance, Ghana Revenue Authority, and indeed Ghana Link Network Services, the operators of the Integrated Customs Management System, ICOMS, at the port. Remember, the abridged version of the show is aired every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television GTV. My name is Kennedy Mona. God willing, we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of Iron Port next week, Sunday. Wish you a super week ahead and enjoy your evening.